welcome them. Okay, so we are going to discuss Sefirah Omer. And we'll see that there are a lot of interesting conceptual issues about the Sefirah. So let us get down to business right away. Okay, so Sefirah Omer is, let's try this for a second. This is good trivia. The main Sefirah Omer sugya is in Menachot. Can anyone figure out why Sefirah Omer would be discussed in Menachot? It's definitely easier if you know what Menachot's about. Okay, Kaz, what do you say? Yes, excellent. Guys, besides counting the Omer, what's the Omer really? It is a korban mincha, right? One of the flour offerings brought in the Beit HaMikdash. It was brought on the second day of Pesach. And Menachot is about flour offerings, right? Mincha is the name for a flour offering. That's why, which Seder would Menachot be in, guys? Which Seder of the sixth term? Who just said? Kachim, right? Kachim is about Karbanot. Okay, so that's why Sefirah Omer is there. Okay, let's get started. Amar Abaye. Mitzvah lemimni yomi u'mitzvah lemimni shvui. There's a mitzvah to count days and weeks, which of course is what we do, right? We list the days and we say, 4 weeks and 3 days, whatever the case may be, etc. Rabbanan debei Rav Ashi mani yomi mani shvui. So indeed, since Abaye said that, the rabbis agreed and they would count both. Ameimar mani yomi v'lo mani shvui. But Ameimar said, I'm counting days and not weeks. Why is that? Zecher Migdashu. So it sounds like he thinks the mitzvah Orayta, right, the biblical mitzvah no longer applies. We have to figure out why. And since it's only rabbinic, we can kind of go easy. So it's like the Orayta mitzvah would be days and weeks, but on a rabbinic level, okay, it's enough if people count days. Okay, we're good? Okay, so let me ask 2 questions that come up right away. Okay, if we say it's Zecher Migdash, that's assuming that it's no longer Orayta. Why would counting the Omer no longer be Orayta? What's your suggestion, guys? Elliot? What? Okay, excellent. Okay. Oh, nice shirt. Okay. That's a Moshe Hammer has a nice shirt today, guys. Where is he? Okay, excellent. Okay. And I should comment because he does it every week. Where's Evie? No, he'll be back. Don't worry, he'll be back. Okay, so in any case, what if we talked about the Sefirah Omer. What am I counting? Maybe I'm counting from the Karban. Notice, I probably noticed this in Chutz La'aretz when you have 2 days of Pesach. Notice your Haggadah might say Sefirah Omer in it for people who didn't go to Shul. But the first night, you're not going to say Sefirah Omer because we don't count the first night. We start counting the second night. But that's why you'll still have it in your Haggadah for Chutz La'aretz. You'll still have Sefirah Omer. So what if we say Sefirah Omer is connected to the Karban Omer? That's what I'm counting from. So once there's no sacrifice, there's no counting either. Okay, so that would be very good. That would be the simplest reason why it's only D'Rabbanan. Okay, now let's ask another question. Okay, we're saying now that some people say count days and weeks. Some people say count just days because it's only D'Rabbanan. So guys, you're very bright. Let's get this. What are the 2 ways to understand the other position? Why does someone think you count days and weeks even today? What are the 2 possibilities? Okay, so maybe they say it's not true. Good. Very good. It's not linked with a Karban. It's an independent idea. So even if there's no sacrificial order, it remains the right. Excellent, Yaakov. Second possibility? Yeah, cuz? It could be just the mitzvah D'Rabbanan for days and weeks. Yeah, just because something's D'Rabbanan, does that mean we have to, change the parameters of the mitzvah? Maybe rabbinically we do all the things we would do on a biblical level. Okay, it's not obvious because of Zecher Mikdash we should tone it down. In fact, I would suggest actually the other position is more intuitive. Okay, it's a rabbinic extension, but we do the same thing we did on the Orayta level. This is a silly example, but just to make the point. Okay, nowadays, outside of Yerushalayim, when you take a lulav and etrog for the 7 days of Sukkot, is it Orayta or D'Rabbanan, guys? Why is that not fully correct? It's Orayta on the first day. Good. Remember the pasuk says Ulakachtem lachem biyom harishon. So the first day is Orayta everywhere. But the 2 through 7 is only Orayta in the Beit HaMikdash. Usmachtem l'fnei Hashem Elokechem Shivat Yamim. So let me ask you a silly question. So nowadays, it's Orayta the first day, rabbinic 2 through 7. Would it occur to any of us here, guess what? Since rabbinic, you only have to take 3 of the minim. We can finally punt the Aravot, right? It's great because they just dry out anyway, so it will be amazing, right? That would be a good move. Now, rabbinically, we have the same obligations you have on a biblical level. Okay, so we're good so far, guys? So far we have 2 questions. Should it still be D'Orayta today? And if it's Drabanan, what would the parameters be? Even though our Meimar says we only count days, one could easily argue, even in rabbinic level, we would do both. See, I told you guys, you have to have faith in Zevi. Zevi, nice shirt. Okay, everybody good? Okay, so let us go to... let's go to, actually, the Rambam first. Okay, go to source 4. Now, Rambam, sometimes you have to make inferences. He's not always so explicit about everything. Let's see what he says here. Mitzvah zu al kol ish mi Yisrael. This is a mitzvah on every Jew. Actually, it's pretty explicit. Uvachol, he's talking about Sefirah Omer. Uvachol makom, uvachol zman, v'nashim bavadim tur mimena. Okay, so he told us 3 things. Kol makom, kol zman, and women are exempt. Well, let's go in backwards order. Why are women exempt? This is a classic mitzvah say, shezman goma. Okay, we'll see that some people quibble with this, but that would be simple. Okay, that's the Rambam. Okay, we'll get back to women also. Don't worry, we never leave women out of Shiur Klali. Okay, what about b'chol makom v'chol zman? What's b'chol makom suggesting? Yeah, okay. Exactly, it's not in the Mikdash, it's not only in Israel, it's everywhere. What's b'chol zman saying though? Doesn't that seem to indicate that even without a Beit Mikdash? So the Rambam would seemingly say that it is Doraita even today. Okay, unlike we saw in Amemar in the Gemara. Okay, great. Now, what does this depend on? Is it Doraita or Dorbanan today? By the way, did Rav Noam do his tirade about this yet? Yeah. Okay, so Rav Noam likes to have tirades, but it's okay. So I'm not going to discuss it. But just realize when we sing that song, right, we're assuming that it's Doraita. Okay, I think it's okay, even if it's Dorbanan, life will go on, but speak to Rav Noam. Okay, source 5. So the Aruch HaShulchan deals with this question, the Doraita versus Dorbanan question, and he says something very clever. Of a lokein dat a Rambam perkazan mitmidem din chavbet v'zel shono hari kasha katavshi mitzvah say b'chol makom v'chol zman. Okay, and how does he deal with the fact that it's against the Gemara? That's exactly what the debate is. Again, Meimar said it's rabbinic, so we only count days. What will the Rambam say? Those opinions that said we count days and weeks, that's because they think it's Orayta, right? That was one of the 2 possibilities. Clearly, that's what Rambam would say. But what does that really depend on? So things get a little deeper now. Okay, let's skip to the 4th line, the middle of the line. V'afal gav. V'av gav da'ata ein carbon. Wait, but there's no carbon anymore. Yesh lomer d'ikara sefirah hi hu lamatan Torah. So this is quite fascinating, right? Which aspect of the count are you focusing on? So since we start counting on the day of the Karban Omer, what could one argue? Counting is very much in tandem with the Omer. But arguably, but maybe we should focus on what we're counting to. What are we counting to? Matan Torah, Shavuos. Shavuos has not changed its status with the lack of Beit HaMikdash. It's still the same Chag it always was. So I think it's interesting, even from a Machshava perspective here. Like, what do we link the counting with? You could link the counting with the Karban, and then it should be rabbinic today. You could link counting with the Chag, and then it should still be Doraita today. But then it goes even further. Okay, why? Here we go. Let's go to... Now, I think I'm a little torn here because on the one... Well, let me ask you a question, guys. What do you think is more logical, to link it with the Chag or to link it with the Karban? What do you guys say? Okay, Gavi Spinner.
I think it makes more sense to link it with, not with Shavuos, because we're starting and we're counting up. Like, if we were counting down towards Shavuos, that would make more sense if we're counting to this.
Okay, very interesting. Okay. Anybody else? Yeah, Elliot.
I feel like since it's a mitzvah on every single person, and it's based off of they're supposed to, every single person supposed to count from the start, then it should be from the start. Because Shavuos is based off of, like everyone does Shavuos when Shavuos is, but if you don't count the first day, then it's based off of when you count.
Okay, wait, is the issue that you said 2 different things. The need to get every day in and that it's incumbent on everybody, right?
I'm saying it's incumbent on everybody to count, meaning that it's based off when you start counting. If you don't start counting, then I feel like...
Okay. I just remember one thing why Elliot's point is very interesting. You might say, what's the big deal? Of course everybody counts. Is it true that every time there's a mitzvah to count in Judaism, everybody counts? They don't know another count. What? Oh, no. I mean, okay. Nida's one of them, that's correct. But besides Nida, 3rd one? Very good. Who was that? That was excellent. Max, how'd you know that?
I heard this Shiur.
Okay, did I give Shiur Klali this last year? Okay, very good, Max. Okay, Max Kimmel's a serious guy. Okay. Oh, Max, I spoke to the rabbi in Vancouver last night. We spoke about you. I'm going to be there for Shabbos, yeah. Okay, so in any case, yeah, guys, we're the only yeshiva which mass produces very serious guys from Vancouver. I know how that happened, but we've now had 2. Okay. So in any, see, Vancouver 2, Vermont is only 1. Okay. So, oh, that's right. I forgot about, that's right. That's very funny. Forgot about the bearded one and this guy. Okay. So in any case, okay. Ready? That didn't take very long. Oh my God. 12 minutes. Let's hear, what are your 5? Let's see. Cuz, bearded one. That's oops, it's not fair. I don't do that. Fine. What was the Shana Bet reference?
Max Kimmel.
Oh, okay. I don't have to say the word Shana Bet. Okay.
Instead.
Okay. Shh. All right, guys. So here we go. So the third Sefirah is we count years for Shemitah and Yovel. Now this is interesting because it plays out differently. This could be its own shiur. How do we count our years for Shemitah and Yovel? Who counts? Just the Beit Din. So that's why Elliot's point is very interesting. Why did the 2 counts play out differently? Sefirah to Omer, somehow every individual does that. Sefirah for Shemitah and Yovel is only the Beit Din. But that's not our topic today, just be aware. Okay, so getting back over here, let's go back to the Aruch HaShulchan. Okay? He has just told us that according to Rambam, the Sefirah is really linked with Matan Torah. Okay, but now, let's go to the next line. But there's another imagery going on here. Okay, we said that we start with a carbon. We start with a carbon Omer. But you could argue that we end with a carbon also. Does anyone know what the carbon of Shavuos is called? Very good. Oh, we have our carbon guy over here. Okay, I'm tempted to say Amitai Keter so people can cross that off. Okay, so there's a carbon called the Shtei HaLechem that we bring on Shavuos. It's actually very interesting because it might be the only mitzvah that's unique to Shavuos. Right, because recall, guys, that there's no Mesechet called Mesechet Shvuot. Well, there's one, but it's about oaths, not about the Chag. Remember, guys, why is there no Mesechet about this Chag? Because there are no mitzvah to discuss. Right, on Pesach, you discuss matzah, chametz, Seder night, carbon Pesach. Right, on Sukkot, you can discuss the Arba Minim and Sukkah. There's a lot to discuss. But Shavuot doesn't have any individualized mitzvah. So the one thing Shavuot has is a carbon called the Shtei HaLechem. But the Shtei HaLechem was an unusual carbon. Okay? Well, actually, we're not getting to that right now, but forget what I said. Take off that word. Unusual, take that out. Okay, Shtei HaLechem was brought from wheat, and the carbon Omer was brought from barley. Now, in Chazal's view, who eats barley? Animals, exactly. And humans eat wheat. So the Aruch HaShulchan is going to say that's the symbolism here. What's the symbolism? So let's skip to... actually, we'll keep going. What's the claim? That till you've accepted this code, religious and moral code of the Torah, there's something animalistic about a person. And then what happens when you accept the Torah? You become more human, and that's when you move from barley to wheat. So just realize there might be some added symbolism here. And the Aruch HaShulchan, notice he's kind of linked the carbon theme with the Matan Torah theme. Right? That we talked about, maybe we link it with carbon, maybe we link it with Matan Torah. In a certain sense, he's combining the two. Right? That Sefirah is about counting towards Matan Torah. But that's why we go from a barley offering to a wheat offering. Okay, everyone good with that? Okay, so that sums up the Orayta verse, the Rabbanan split. Okay, I'll wait till the end to do a review. Okay, now we should move on. Should we go to women or missing a day? What should we do next, guys? Women. Okay, looks like women win. Okay, so go to source 6. This is a famously interesting Ramban. Okay, the Ramban is listing mitzvot, and he's categorizing mitzvot. Let's pay close attention to Ramban's list. Okay, what are mitzvahs man grama? Kon sukkah. Veis mitzvahs shalosh man grama, kon mezuzah. Now, obviously, that Mishnah is not exhaustive. So there's a phrase called Tana V'Shayar. Anyone count that a phrase? It means the Tana left some things out. When you give a list, it's not always an exhaustive list. So let's see what was left out. Here we go. The mitzvah hashesh zman grama. What are some other zman gramas in this world? Shayar, tefillin, tichtib bedi dipturot. V'inamas of ein zman grama shayar re'iyah. Before we get to more, guys, why is tefillin zman grama? So either it's because day and not night, or what's the other possibility? Right, very good. Weekday and not Shabbat. Excellent. Now, but now let's look at that was the zman grama extension. What about the longer list of not zman grama? Here we go. Where I lost the place for a second. The mitzvah says ein zman grama k'shayar tuva. Here we go. Moreh v'kibud. What's that about? Yeah, kibud of aim doesn't have a time it ceases to exist. Bikurim v'chala. Kisrei Hadam, right, any animal I shech, doesn't matter what day it is. Reishit Agez, Matanot, Sefirah Omer, Prika Ti'ina. What are Prika and Ti'ina about? Anyone know? Prika and Ti'ina? Oh, this is a little obscure. No, sorry, I think you say that because you're thinking Yakum Purkan Min Shemai, is that what you're thinking? Yeah. Because Purkan is redemption? Not bad. Okay, Prika and Ti'ina is when you help load or unload a donkey, right? Ti'ina is to load and Prika is to unload. That's what I want you to notice, Mayor. Excellent. Where do you put Sefirah Omer? On the low Azman Grama list. So first of all, maybe according to Ramban, women are biblically obligated. But secondly, how could that be? What could be more Zman context dependent than Sefirah Omer? So this is remarkable, right? According to the Ramban, seemingly, eating matzah, well, actually, women are chayv in that, fine. Sitting in a sukkah is man grama. Blowing shofar is man grama. But Sefirah Omer is not. Can anyone possibly come with a Sefirah to save the Ramban here? How could Sefirah Omer not be Zman grama? Noam.
Because you can really say it any time during the whole day. Is that right? Like,
Okay, but why is that different than taking a lulav?
but you can't take it at night.
Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting suggestion. Although, by the way, what you said is debatable, right? We're going to see shortly, guys. There's a machloket rishonim if you can do Sefirah Omer in the daytime. That's why. Let's go out of order for a second, just to explain our practice. Okay, guys. There's two debates that come together. Okay, and those who like ksuva stuff, tet, right? Or you'll see in a second why you're going to appreciate this. Okay, here we go. There's a debate. If I miss a day, can I continue counting? Okay. There's also a debate. If I don't say it at night, can I count in the day? What do we normally do if we have a suffix? What do we do, guys? We count, but now notice that's in both scenarios. So if I count in the daytime, I count without a bracha because of the suffix. If I miss the full 24 hours, I count without a bracha because it's a suffix. Okay, here we go, guys. Now things get exciting. But if I count in the day, what do I do the next night? I do make a bracha. Can anyone tell me what halachic principle that's based on? Very good. Who is that? Sveik, who's that it? Excellent. I might as well. Shana bet. Okay. So, what is a sveika? There are two doubts, and either one would enable me to do it. What are the two doubts? Why can't I count at night? The next night? Because there are two possibilities why I can still count. Guys, what are the two possibilities why I can still count? One is, maybe even if you miss a day, it doesn't matter. Secondly, maybe even if I can miss a day, counting in the daytime is not called missing a day, right? So there are two different factors that might enable me to keep counting, right? It's like when you have a sveika, that's often why, I'll do another example of a sveika. Let's say somebody pours some kind of white liquid into my cholent, okay? But I'm not sure if it was real milk or oat milk, okay? And I'm not sure if there's a 60-to-1 ratio or not. So I might be able to eat the cholent because that would be a classic sveika, right? Maybe it's okay because it's 60-to-1 ratio. Maybe it's okay because it wasn't milk to begin with. Okay, so here the sveika would be maybe counting the daytime counts, okay? Or maybe even if you missed a day, you could still go. Okay, we're good with the sveika? Okay, excellent. So just in terms of Noam's point, though, it's not everyone would agree with you, Noam, right? That I could count all day. It could be I can only count at night. Okay, so let us go to, there.
I'm wondering, is it relevant that on a biblical level, there wasn't always a fixed time that the Sefirah would take place, in that, like, the Beit Din would consult with the farmers and determine the proper time to start doing it, and so because it's not a fixed time, there's a
Right.
future time
That's interesting, but it would always be the same calendar date, right?
to start the
Yeah, we would always do it on the second day of Pesach, on the 16th of Nisan. I mean, the rabbis could play with when Rosh Chodesh Nisan is, but that's not playing.
Count would always be on the second?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go to the Street Eish. Street Eish again, right? This is Rav Chil Yaakov Weinberg, right? Wonderful posek. Remember, he lived in Switzerland after World War II. Remember, which tshuva did we do in Modern Rabbinic Thought? He wrote the famous tshuva about? Very good. Kohed youth groups and Kolisha. Okay, very important tshuva. Elliot.
Oh, can I just answer the question on Shul's?
Yeah, why do you think it's not Zman Grama? It's not Zman Grama.
Because it's not Ayin that causes it to happen, it's the Sefirah Omer that causes the Sefirah Omer to happen.
Okay, so let's read the Street Eish. Tell me if it's what you said. Okay, guys, turn the page, please. V'la'aniyot dati hu pashut shemitzvah zman gramu mitzvah sheyesh la zman kavua. Hazmanu ha-miskeret shel ha-mitzvah. And what a miskeret is, my neighbor? Yeah, structure. Good. So what do you have? You have a mitzvah, and it's structured by time. Could go matzah, lulav, v'sukkah. Ma'ashein beinkin b'sfit omer. Now, you might say, what do you mean? Sfit omer, of course it's structured by time. Let's look at the formulation here, guys. This is very sharp. She'azmanu atzmuto shel ha-mitzvah. What does that mean? The zman is not the context for the mitzvah, or the structure. Zman is the essence of the mitzvah, right? Think about it. Taking a lulav is not a time thing. It's taking a lulav. Time comes along and says, this is bound. We do it on a certain context. We do it on the first day of Sukkot. Sefirah Omer, it's not that time comes in artificially bounds it. It is, in its essence, time to bend it. That's what it is. Now, he's saying, again, you could ask why this is. He's saying, what's the definition of Zman Grama? Only when Zman comes from the outside and binds a mitzvah to a particular date. But if the essence of the mitzvah is time related, that's not called Zman Grama, okay? Is that similar to what you said or no? Okay. All right, you'll put it in your Sefer. Okay, good. All right, guys. Now let's move on a little bit. What about women today? Watch women today. And I think you're going to see something really interesting. And the difference between two major poskim. Okay, you guys probably all know that the Mishnah Berurah and the Aruch HaShulchan were relatively contemporaries, and they're both very important poskim. Most of the Jewish community is more invested in the Mishnah Berurah, that we use that more for practical things, but there's no reason you have to. You could poskim more like the Aruch HaShulchan, and we'll see that they often disagree on women's issues. Okay, they have a certain tendency to disagree. You'll see something very interesting in a second. So let's start with the Magen Avraham, source 8. Okay, Nashim Petua Misvira, that mitzvah Zman Grama. Okay, so he goes with the Rambam, not the Ramban. I just want to point out, guys, that Ramban we just saw is definitely a maverick position. The simplest reading is that it is Zman Grama. But, Umiyu, Kvar Shavya Alayu Chova. Ah, very nice. What already happened in the 1600s? What have women done? They've accepted it upon themselves as an obligation, meaning, why shouldn't they do it? Mitzvah Zman Grama doesn't mean it's usher for women to do. It just means they're not obligated. Do more mitzvah. So already the minhag is women count. Okay, that's what the Magen Avraham says. Okay, now let's go to the late 1800s, early 1900s, and you'll see an amazing difference between the Mishnah Berurah and the Aruch HaShulchan. And I have to admit, I've never understood the Mishnah Berurah. Okay, let's go to the Mishnah Berurah. The Katam of Magen Avraham, Miyu Kvar Shavya Layuchova. So first he quotes the Magen Avraham that women already accepted upon themselves as an obligation. Ukemedume de Medina Tenu, but in our land, he lived in Radin. Lo nagu nashi klal lispar. Women don't count. The katav b'sefer shulchan shlomo. Dal kopanim lo yivarchu. If they count, they shouldn't make a bracha. Now this is kind of bizarre. The bevad yitu b'yom echad. They're going to make a mistake. V'gam al pirov einim yodim perush hamilot. This is really remarkable. What is the second claim? Women are not getting such a good education, and therefore they don't even know what the words mean. Now this is what I've never understood, because it doesn't take that much time to educate the words of Sefirah Omer. Like, it's not like, oh, we'll teach them Sefer Eov, right? No, Sefirah Omer, it's like one sentence. So, but if whatever Mishnah Berurah reflect a world where women are not educated, and therefore he counsels against them making the bracha, they don't really understand what they're doing. However, let us go to Aruch HaShulchan. Luckily, there are other voices. Source 10 says, Rav Yechiel Michal Epstein, Hanashim Petum Shadav Mitzvah Zman Grama, Umikomakom Nago, what's the custom? Livareich, the limnot. What's the limnot? Good, to make a bracha and count. Why? Is Raymond Ashkenaz here? We have a Sephardi moment coming up. Oh, man. All right. Too bad. See, guys, you should never be in a position where there's a certain thing that makes me think about you, right? Because then it's going to come up at some point during Shiur Klali. Okay, here we go. I guess Raymond can't really do anything about it. He is Sephardi. What can you do? Okay, so here we go. Kikol mitzvah aseish man grama. Guys, what position are Aruch HaShulchan famously reflecting here? What is the classic Ashkenazi position about women and Asman Grama? Not only can they do the mitzvah, they can make a bracha. You do not have to be obligated to make a bracha. Sephardim, for the most part, seem to say that they do it but without a bracha. Because to say Asher Kitshanu, you need to be commanded. Okay, but in any case, certainly the mainstream Ashkenazi, actually the Ashkenazi position is to make a bracha. So what does the Aruch HaShulchan say? What should women do in Sefirah Omer? The whole concern of the Mishnah Berurah doesn't even come up for him. What do you mean, like they don't understand the words? Who says that's true? He doesn't even relate to it. But I think it's like a non-starter for him. So I'd recommend going with the Aruch HaShulchan on this one. Okay, certainly with contemporary women. Yes, Noam.
The Mishnah Berurah paskin similarly for other mitzvahs like this, like lulav?
Well, what are they? There's no words to understand lulav.
I mean, you have to say the bracha.
Well, do you think he means understanding the words of the bracha, or he means understanding the words of the counting? Which do you think he means? I don't understand what either way. I don't understand it.
I'm not sure. Like, I think the bracha would.
You think he means the bracha?
I don't know. No, maybe the.
I think he means the words. Okay, which would solve your problem, but it's still odd. Yeah, no.
I think it has to be the words. That's important to the mitzvah. I think that was set aside.
Right.
The words.
The words are what is the mitzvah. The bracha is not the mitzvah. Jack.
Kind of, are you saying that understanding the words is prevents you from being?
Look, let's say this, guys. That part I think is reasonable. Let's say I say Hayom Yom Shlishi Ba'omer, but I have no idea what the word Shlishi means. Right? Wouldn't you argue that I'm not counting at that point? Counting means I know what number I'm up to. If I don't know what the word Shlishi means, I don't. It's not just magically saying words.
Count in your language?
I think you can, but there it's different because you would know what the words mean.
So why can the women count in their own language?
That's a good question. That's also a good question. You're right. As I said, guys, this Mishnah Berurah is just a mystery to me. A, why can't you educate women about one sentence? B, let them count in Polish, right, or Yiddish, whatever the case may be. Yeah.
Would you not be able to make the bracha though if it's in your own language?
I don't see why not. I think it's fully Yotze. I'll even give you a good proof, guys. What do they tell you if somebody asks you what night it is? Don't say tonight's 17. Say yesterday was 16. But what's that assuming, of course? That counting in English works, right? Otherwise it wouldn't be a problem. So I'm pretty confident that any language works. The main thing is knowing what day it is and asserting what day it is, right? Yeah, EJS. I'm assuming you do make the bracha when you do it in English.
No, I know, but because it knocks you, because you do it without the bracha there, wouldn't it seem like it?
Wait, okay, well, one thing, guys, I'm not sure if this was confusing EGS over here. In general, do I need the bracha to fulfill a mitzvah? No. Yeah, the answer is no. That's why if I say today's 17, I've already done it. Right? Is that what you're getting at, EGS? But that's true no matter what. That's true in Hebrew also. Right? The mitzvah is the counting. Bracha is a very nice thing, but it's not part of the mitzvah. And I think the counting is the same no matter what language it's in. Okay? Yeah, Micha.
Not that I think that.
Micha, how come wearing a white shirt today? You just filled it. You're feeling it. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Not that I think that there's like so much to say here, but like, could a possible understanding of the Mishnah Berurah here be like the not referring to the actual counting, but to the longer nusach below it?
Right, okay, that's interesting. I was wondering that, but why do you need that?
You don't, but I'm just wondering if that's.
Okay, I catch what Micha saying. This would make much more sense, although I just don't understand why. It is true that counting is just the bracha and the counting. But as always happens in Judaism, right, texts get expanded. So maybe some of you say this longer text that isn't really necessary. So Micha suggested, if you have the longer text, that's the part that women didn't understand. But even though Micha would make that part easier, I said, but you don't need that part, so just let them not understand it. Okay? We're good? Yeah, Jeremy.
Based on the previous article, Conway saying that the whole idea of why we're counting is to be one from the name line. It kind of seems like this would be an offhand ayuda to one ace, like with women. They should be counting up.
Okay, that was not bad at all. Very clever. Just realize that it's not clear that afhein applies to biblical mitzvot. Afhein might only apply to rabbinic mitzvot. Just to give you an example, guys, who knows, this is great trivia. One day someone's going to stop you on the light rail and say the following. What are the 3 Talmudic examples of afhein u'botones? And you better know it, otherwise it's going to be embarrassing for the yeshiva. What are the 3 Talmudic examples where women are chayav because afhein ha'yu botones, they were part of the miracle? Megillah on Purim. Hanukkah candles. Oh, which Pesach thing? It can't be matzah because matzah is Orayta. The arbor kosod. Those are the three places that they're at. Double joint Alex Wolf. You knew it, right? Okay. Excellent. Okay. So, you get to cross yourself off on the bingo. That's like extra points. Extra points to cross yourself off. Amitai, do you have Amitai Cater on yours? Okay. Okay. Amitai, you're a serious guy. Okay. Okay. So again, notice about the three examples. What's the commonality of all of them? They're all Derabanan, Mikra Megillah, Hanukkah candles, and Arbor Kosod. So, Jeremy, even your point's good. It might not apply to Doraitas. Okay, guys, so we've wrapped up Doraita Derabanan, we've wrapped up women. Let's go to the debate about missing a day. Okay, so if everyone could go back, please, to source 3. You see a very famous Tosfot. Okay. First, he has the debate whether I could count in the daytime, but in the interest of time, we're going to leave that out. Look at the last 2 lines. Od Pasak Balchot Gdolot. Okay, there's a sefer called the Balchot Gdolot. The author is often referred to as the Bahag. The bet stands for Baal, like the author, the master of. Baal Halachot Gdolot. What does the Bahag say? Shim hifsik yom echad v'lo siper. One day I missed. Shuv eino sofer. I'm done. Debaya tmimot. Because you need it to be, right, what does the pasuk say? Sheva shabtot tmimot tiena. Our Baal Kori over there. Excellent. So, you need tmimot. If you miss a day, it's not tmimot. So that's it. You're done. Okay. V'tema gdolahu v'lo yitachein. So I'm not sure why Tosfos finds that so astonishing, but Tosfos obviously does not think so. Tosfos, what do you mean? Of course, they're not dependent on each other. Every day I could count. Okay. Now, let's go to the other page, but let's ask conceptually. Because there's one very common understanding of this debate, but we're going to see a question that might shake up the common understanding. If I ask you guys, what really is at the heart of the debate? If I miss a day, do I continue? What's the simplest explanation? What's the machloket really about? Yeah, Jack? Exactly. Is it 1 mitzvah or 49 mitzvot? Right? You could say it's 49 different mitzvot, right? So why in the world should any day be dependent on the previous day? Just like, saying Shema. No one would say, well, you didn't say Shema yesterday, so you can't say Shema today. It's different mitzvah each day. Maybe Sefirah Omer is a different mitzvah each day. The other position, of course, would be, no, they're all linked. It's not analogous to each day Shema. It's more analogous to the 4 minim on Sukkot. Right? Lulav is not a separate mitzvah from Etrog, so one without the other is simply nothing. So maybe Sefirah Omer is 49 days that are all one mitzvah. And the Bahag thinks it's all one mitzvah. You miss a day, you're done. Tosfos thinks it's 49 7 mitzvot, so it doesn't matter if you miss a day. Jack?
According to the Bahag, why do you need
Where'd you get that question from? You just thought of it? What? That is a famous question. I was setting us up for that question. Okay, so let us go. Very good. Jack is having a great day here. What did Jack, did the Yankees win last night? Oh, what a day for you. The Yankees won, and you said a great caution, Klali. Okay. It just doesn't get better than that, Jack. Okay, let's go to source 11 and 12. Okay, what does the Rush say? So says the Rush, V'od kata bahag, shemifsik yom echad v'lo siper, shuvenu sofer debin and tmimot. Ve'ein nirlari, t'kol laila v'laila, mitzvah b'fnei atzmahi. That's as explicit as you could want. The Rush agrees with Tosfot, but he doesn't just say you could miss a day and keep counting. What is the explicit rationale? Why can I count even though I missed a day? Because every day is a separate mitzvah. So the Rush clearly thinks that's the simplest explanation for the Tosfos position. Okay, but now, source 12, the Prima Gudim. Guys, just to clarify the Prima... What? Really? Wow, what a day. I did not know that. Do you check rabbinic yard sites every day? Okay, who else today besides the Prima Gudim? Wait, we know what day the Rif died? Yeah. Are you sure we know what day the Rif died? Okay, it was a long time ago. Just curious, do you think we normally would know, like somebody who lived 1,000 years ago, would we know what day they died? Do we know what day the Rambam died? All right. Okay, I shouldn't be so skeptical. Okay, maybe we do know what day the Rif died. It could be. Okay. I'm sorry? That was very good. Okay. Guys, we're in good state because people are able to make yeshivas jokes. Okay. Choni Bellino just did it. Okay. You ask him about it later. Okay, so I was going to say the Prima Gudim is, or what he does. Okay, we pointed out that the Shulchan Aruch has different commentaries on the side. In Orach Chaim, who's on the side? The Magen Avraham, and the other one? Magen Avraham and the Taz. Very good. Magen Avraham and the Taz. The Prima Gudim is a commentary on a commentary, right? Sometimes called a super commentary. The Pri Megadim is on the Magen Avram and on the Taz. Okay, so everybody learned something in Halacha and Archaim in depth. Shulchan Aruch, Magen Avram, Taz, Pri Megadim. So what does the Pri Megadim say? Here we go. By Eish Shel Avram is because this is the part that he's commenting on the Magen Avram. Okay, V'yesh la'akshot im kula chad mitzvah. If it's all a mitzvah, here we go, Jack. Eich mevarchim b'chol laila. Oh, we seem to have a killer proof against Tosfot, right? Which is against the Bahag. Killer proof against the Bahag, right? We should make how many brachot should we make? That depends how many mitzvah there are. If every night's a separate mitzvah, we should make 49 brachot. If there's only one mitzvah, we should only make a bracha the first time, or maybe the last time if you want. But why are we making 49 different brachot? And apparently everybody agrees you make 49 different brachot. So now we have a famous conundrum. Again, simplest explanation. Bahag thinks one big mitzvah. Tosfot thinks 49 separate mitzvot. Says the Pri Megadim, according to the Bahag, why in the world are you making 49 brachot? Alex Wolf.
Couldn't you make a logical argument connected to Tosfot saying that I can't have the third coast if I haven't had the second coast, but we still make a bracha on each individual coast in those one mitzvah, right?
Okay. You know what? We're going to see two answers. One of them is definitely not you. You'll tell me if the other one is what you just said. Amitai.
We compare it to Rosh Hashanah, where you have one long day, but both days you make a Shechina.
Okay, although Shechem is a little bit of a different question, right? Because Shechem is about, is there novelty or not? Right? It's not, I'm not saying the criteria are not necessarily the same as, is it the same mitzvah or not?
I mean, if you say mitzvah, I would say there's no novelty in the mitzvah.
Okay. All right. Maybe you're right. Let me think about it a little more. Who has EGS? What do you say? Oh, excellent. Okay, here we go, guys. We are now going to source 13. This is Eretz HaTzvi is a sefer that Rav Shechter from YU put out, and it's very much Rav Soloveitchik's Torah. Okay, it is dominated by Rav Soloveitchik's Torah. Okay, Rav Shechter, of course, one of the most significant students of Rav Soloveitchik. So Rav Soloveitchik had two answers to the question. Let us go to the second answer, because I think it's what EGS just said. Okay, oh, that's poor guy. Now I'm reminded that GBS is not here. Okay, it was even just a slip of the tongue. Okay, tell Raymond and GBS that they were missed. Okay, so let us look at the second paragraph. What's liyashev something, guys? To settle, to make it resolved, right? How do you resolve it? Ba'ofen acher legamrei. V'aynu demai desfir lebahag debeshachach luspar yom echad shuvin sofer. He said, guess what? I have a radical new approach to the Bahag. Not what everybody thought. What was our approach to the Bahag till now? Every day is crucial because it's all one mitzvah. Okay, here we go. Yaakov, you're having a great day today.
Thank you.
Okay, is there like some correlation between...
I think it's because Vic is from Atlanta.
Okay, oh. I was going to say maybe like not having a collar makes you more Talmudically adept. Okay, excellent. Okay. So he says... Not what you thought the whole time. It's not one mitzvah. Basically, he says the Bahag agrees it's 49 mitzvot. So what's the obvious question? If it's 49 mitzvot, why does missing one ruin it? He says, the Sefirah be'inun ritzifut v'hemshechiyut. Two great Hebrew words to know. What's hemshechiyut? Continuity, good. And what's ritzifut? What's a retzef? You think of Retzif. Not bad. Yeah, I wonder, why does Retzif mean a platform? Because that's not what Retzif means. Anyone know the word Retzif? Retzif is a flow. Yeah. Very good. Very good. Why do you know that word? Oh, you're Israeli, right? Okay, excellent.
Adrian knew it too.
Okay. Adrian, you did it? How do you know the word Retzif? You just know it? Okay, terrific. Ramaz. Okay, so in any case, guys, what's he getting at? Let's get this far. This is brilliant Sefirah. Let's say they're 49 separate mitzvot. Fine. But when I'm counting 16, what does that assume? You can't count 16 unless you counted 15. So my counting is off, meaning even if they're 49 separate mitzvot, it's the nature of counting that I can't count unless I counted the previous one. So he says it is not because, ever got that? There's a good shot in the Bahag, big Chiddush. The Bahag thinks they're 49 separate mitzvot, but they're still dependent. Not because they're luckily dependent on each other, but because that's the nature of counting. And I'll give you a great proof for this theory. Everyone go down to the Bir Halach in 15. Okay, this is brilliant. Okay? See the second line of the Bir Halacha. He has a shita that works amazingly according to Rav Soloveitchik. I don't know how to explain it unless you go to Rav Soloveitchik. What if I forget a day? Yispor b'leil sheni. What should I do the second night? The next night? Shtei Sefirot. What does he claim, guys? What should I do? This is amazing, right? I forgot day 15. What should I do on night 16? Say, yesterday was 15, today was 16. Would you guys all agree that only makes sense according to Rav Soloveitchik? Right? Because again, if we have 49 separate mitzvot, and each one is totally independent of each other, so I don't accomplish anything by saying yesterday was 15. It's too late. But if the only reason I need that, I'm not doing it to fulfill the day of 15. I mean, kids say, well, why am I doing it? To create the continuity, that there's no break. Isn't that brilliant? There's no break in the flow. Now, I admit, guys, we don't paskin this way. We do not say, oh, you could solve the problem by saying yesterday it was 15. But I would say that shita, the only way to understand it is to go with Rav Soloveitchik. Okay, everybody good with that? Okay, amazing that you said that's far. That was terrific. Okay. Now, okay. Now let's go there. Now, we did. Okay. Okay. So we did the second answer. Now, I admit I don't find the first answer as exciting, but in the interest of completion, let's look at the first answer also, and then we'll do a massive review. Okay, what's the first answer of Schechter cites in the Eretz HaTzvi? I have another way to solve the Prima Gadim's problem. Why does the Bahag think you can't make any more brachot? He goes back to the old understanding. They're all one mitzvah. So let's go back to the Prima Gadim. Why do you make a bracha each night? You know what? I should do one thing just to welcome our guests. Hi, what's your name? Where are you from, Woody? Wait, are you Caleb's brother?
No.
You look a lot like him. Okay, what program are you in? Okay, great. Where do you go to high school? Okay, terrific. So you know who Caleb is? Am I the first person to tell you look like him? No. Okay. And in the back, what's your name? Where are you from, Joey? Oh, you live here? Okay, great. How'd you end up? Oh, and who's next to you?
I'm Maor.
We're
from Boston.
Okay. More, which program are you in?
We're both at Molly.
Ah, okay, terrific. How did you guys know to come for Shiur Klali?
Jacob Joseph.
Okay, way to go, Jacob. Wait, did you go to Gonmar?
Oh, yeah.
You went to Gann Academy. Okay. And how did you know to come today? I'm sorry? It just worked out for you that it was a Shiur Klali day. Okay, terrific. Okay. All right, guys, here we go. Now, he has a principle here. I wish we had a list of proofs for the principle. But look what he says. This might be relevant to what you said, Alex. What's nifradim? He says, nevertheless, there's separate actions of mitzvah. What does he argue now? He kind of denies the premise of the question. What was the premise of the question? You never make more than one bracha on one mitzvah. What's the claim here? If that mitzvah has separate actions, you can make a bracha each time. So I could say the Bahag agrees it's all a mitzvah, and still there are 49 brachot. So Alex, that's what you were trying to argue, right? Yeah. Maybe Arba Kosod is like that. Maybe Arba Kosod is all. But again, one thing with Arba Kosod, just realize one thing, I'm making a Brei Pri Hagafen, not a Birkat HaMitzvah. Yeah. So it only works, your argument only works if Brei Pri Hagafen is functioning as a Birkat HaMitzvah there, not functioning as a Birkat HaNenin.
It's also similar to the Rosh saying that you can't do Kos 3 without doing Kos 2.
Okay, fair enough. All right, here we go, guys. Ready for master review? Here, let's get it all together. We did 3 or 4 topics here. Okay, first one, is it D'Oraita or D'Rabbanan? What's the source to say Sefirah Omer is D'Rabbanan? Well, that's the rationale. The source is Ameimer in the Gemara. Okay, which Rishon clearly thinks it's D'Oraita? Rambam. Excellent. How did the Aruch HaShulchan explain the debate? If it's D'Rabbanan, it's because it's linked with the Omer. If it's D'Oraita, it's because it's linked with the Chag. Okay, great. Okay, Ameimer thinks because D'Rabbanan you only count days. If you count days and weeks, what are the 2 possible explanations for that? Either you hold it's D'Oraita, or you say The D'Rabbanan is just like the D'Orayta. Why does the D'Rabbanan have to be scaled down? Okay, that finishes the D'Orayta question. Next, what is the status of women? What does the Rambam say? Classic Zman Grama. Women are exempt. Ramban seems to think it's not Zman Grama. How did the Sfirah explain that? That here time is the essence of the mitzvah as opposed to a context for the mitzvah. Okay, what about women today? So the Magen Avraham tells us women have taken it on as an obligation. Very nice. Okay, what's the difference between the Mishnah Berurah and the Aruch HaShulchan? The Mishnah Berurah is concerned. They don't understand the language, which I have no idea what that means. Okay, no, even if they don't understand, I don't know why we couldn't solve it. Jack had a great point. Say it in English, or just teach them what that sentence means. Okay, but in contrast, the Aruch HaShulchan say, just say it with a bracha. Because again, remember Ashkenazi women's custom, even Zman Grama is you make a bracha. Okay, great. That finishes up women. Okay, third issue. What if I miss a day? Okay, so Bahag versus Tosfot. What does the Bahag think? It's all over. Tosfot? I'm still good. What is the classic explanation of the Bahag versus Tosfot? Bahag thinks it's one mitzvah, Tosfot thinks it's many. But then the Pri Megadim has this killer question on the Bahag. If it is all one mitzvah, why do you make 49 brachot? Okay, so Rav Soloveitchik apparently had two answers. What are Rav Soloveitchik? Give me two answers, Rav Soloveitchik, guys. First answer. I'm sorry? Right, it's not about it being, it's about the continuity. Which Shita clearly is thinking in those terms? It's about continuity, not about it being one mitzvah. The Bir Halacha, because what does he say? I say yesterday was 15, today was 16. That's what generates continuity. Terrific. Rav Soloveitchik's other answer, guys? He says maybe the assumption, the question is not true. Again, what did the question assume? Okay, actually, this is a good logical point, guys. We'll end with this. This is a good logical point. If someone has a question based on an assumption, there's always two possibilities, right? I'm trying to think of a way to say this. Actually, we'll forget the logical point, okay? Because I'm trying to figure out how to structure it, but it's not coming to me the right way. Okay, but the other answer would be, you're assuming that it's all, if it's one mitzvah, you can never make more brachot. Guess what? Who says, right, you can make more brachot? Maybe if one mitzvah has various components, so that's a rationale to make multiple brachot. Let me try for one more second. I think I have a way to formulate it. Okay, I got it. I can't work it out. It's ask yourself how many assumptions the question is based on, and then see if you could undermine any of the assumptions. So I would say the question of Pri Megadim is based on two things. One is the only way to explain the Bahag is that it's one mitzvah. Two, if it's one mitzvah, only one bracha, right? I know why it took me so long to get this. Those are the two assumptions. Again, it's all a mitzvah, only one bracha. So the two answers of Soloveitchik undermine the two assumptions, right? The first answer we looked at, although it's second on the sheet, right, says what? Who says the Bahag thinks it's one mitzvah? It's actually 49 mitzvah, even according to the Bahag. Second one undermines the first assumption. Even if it's one mitzvah, maybe you can make multiple brachot. Okay, quick question, guys, and we're going to wrap it up here. Who here, one of the advantages of being in yeshiva, especially if you're at Marv every night, is that you don't forget Sefirah Omer. Okay, who here, if you're embarrassed, you don't have to, well, actually, it's not true. Okay, because I'm going to add, fine. Who here has not forgotten a day yet? How are we doing there? Oh, not bad. Not bad, guys. Okay, so you all get an extra piece of cheesecake on Shavuos. All right, everybody have a wonderful weekend.